One rolling.
Hi! Welcome to S401 Rant and Rave. Well, welcome back. This time we're going to do our first rave. And it's going to be about my favorite personal TV series, Smallville, which growing up basically was one I always watched. Okay, so rave is a bit different from a rant. This is where we actually say good things about stuff instead of complaining about all things we hate. Okay, first off, Smallville series. This was the first TV show I really got into. It really got me into superheroes. I mean, I'd seen some of the animated shows before, like Justice League Unlimited, all those other shows, and they were cartoons, which is great. Teen Titans, all that fun stuff. But this was the first live-action superhero movie, TV series I'd seen, and I mean, I didn't like Superman all that much, but I really loved this series, and there's a few reasons why. First off, one of the characters, is Chloe Sullivan. She wasn't actually in the comics at all. They created her for this TV series, and she's actually the only character who has been on all 10 seasons apart from Clark Kent. So she's played by Allison Mack, and really an amazing character because she has such great character growth. I just love it. She starts out just as a reporter, a wannabe reporter, trying to find out stories and going for it. And then she gets hurt a lot because she doesn't understand why Clark, who is her best friend, is keeping secrets. And also she just grows as a character. When she learns his secret, she doesn't even tell him she knows the secret because she wants him to be able to tell her on his own time. She doesn't want to impose it on him. And so she grows up to be his most trusted companion of all times. And she eventually becomes the Watchtower. And she just basically brings all the superheroes together. And so she's really an amazing character, and I love her so much because she's funny, she's smart. She at first had a crush on Clark. She got over it, which you don't always see characters do. But she did, and she had a crush for him for a long time, like pretty much all through high school. Afterwards, she got over it, she moved on. Eventually, she ends up with Oliver Queen, and like the very last episode, you see they actually end up having a child together. And it's so adorable, and they're wonderful together, and makes me very, very happy about it. Another part of the series that I really like is another character is Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor is the villain, is the main villain of the entire Superman series. Basically, they're opposing forces, Superman, and Lex Luthor. In this series, they start off where Clark saves Lex's life, and they become friends. They become really good friends. And Michael Rosenbaum, who played Lex Luthor, did such an amazing job. You sympathize with this character so much. You root for him. You want him to end up happy. You don't even care if it's discontinuous with the comic books. You want him to end up happy and safe and secure with a good life. You want that for him. And you can see it in every season where he makes wrong choices or people just keep betraying him. You can see him going down the path to becoming the villain that he eventually becomes. And sometimes you're not sure if he knows he's the villain, because sometimes he acts like he's like, yes, I'm the villain of the story, but other times he sees himself as the savior of the story, which is very interesting, and he's such a likable character. You want him to be happy. And then at this one point, he marries this doctor, Sir Helen Price, I think her name is. And you see that, and he's so happy together, and you're just like, oh, I want this to work out. And then she ends up betraying him, and like he's lost on an island desert island for like 3 months, and he goes crazy. But you wanted them to be happy, and you're so angry with her for betraying him because you wanted him to be happy. You really rooted for him, and as his descent gets darker and darker, you feel so bad for him. I mean, you start to hate him at points because he makes the wrong decisions, and you think you could make the right decision, but he doesn't. And you honestly want Lionel Luthor to be the main villain, because I think Lionel Luthor is the main villain of the story, mostly because he set Lex down the path. He's the one who betrayed him the most, who didn't show him the kindness he needed. When they went to the other world with the parallel universe with Ultraman, you see how bad Lionel could get when he didn't have that healing experience with Jor-El and with Clark's being in his body and all this other stuff that happened in like season 4 of it. So you see that season 4 or season 3, one of those seasons, and Lionel Luthor he's a horrible person. And honestly, when he dies, you're happy. You're really happy when Lex kills him. I don't think I mentioned it at the beginning, but I'm doing so many spoilers in this one. So if you haven't seen this TV series, you really shouldn't be listening to this. This actually includes you. You shouldn't be listening to me say any of this. Because I'm spoiling this so much for you. I'm talking to Kay, who's doing the camera. Because, I love the story so much. I mean, towards the end, you get, like, Clark's character, I guess he develops a bit. At the end, he starts to give me a little bit. You get annoyed with him because he gets so broody. It's like, oh, I can't tell the woman I love. Honestly, he probably could have told more people who he was, his friends, because they don't betray him. I mean, Lex, it was probably a good idea not to tell Lex. That was a good idea. But he could have told Lana earlier on. He definitely could have told Chloe earlier on. He never actually told Chloe. He just found out that she knew. And then it's like, he could have trusted them, but he didn't. He chose not to. And then he probably could have told Lois early on. But I think it was a good thing he waited a bit, because the way Lois's mindset might have been a bit iffy. Didn't know her very well. They didn't really like each other in the beginning, which is funny, because, like, every time she's like, says, like, when he first introduces, she says, oh, I'm Lois Lane, and that, like, so everyone knows who she is eventually, and they end up together, and the animosity they have in the beginning, like, almost like brother and sister. It's so adorable, it's so sweet, so much fun. And Erica Durance, who plays Lois Lane, really good job with it. Really, the actors on the show did such an amazing job playing these characters and giving them life and personality. It was wonderful. A fun fact, I learned this out like this year. Annette O'Toole, who plays Martha Kent, actually in another Superman series, she played Lana Lang. I did not know this. I just found out recently, and I'm not just amazed because she's a really good actress too. And I've seen other Superman movies, I've seen other cartoons, and I think this is a really good portrayal of them. Like Jonathan Kent, Clark's father. I love this portrayal of him because you see him as Clark kind of sees him as he grows up. At first, he really is the moral center. I mean, he always has this good moral code. He's this moral center. He protects his family, really good family values. But as the seasons go on, before he dies, you start to see he sees more of his flaws. You can see them. And it's kind of like you're seeing them from Clark's perspective almost. And like season 1, when he's just his father, he's this amazing, he's the Superman in Clark's life. And as Clark becomes more of an adult and needs his father less and less, you start to see more of his flaws. But he's still an awesome character, and he portrayed the character really, really well. Made me very, very happy about this. So I've been just rewatching the series, and I'm actually on this 5th season now. So before we get introduced to Oliver Queen, Justin Hartley plays, and I love him so much. Really do. Really fun. And he has a great character arc too. And most of these characters, they develop really well. They develop really nicely. And they change so much. You can see it slowly through each episode. You can see the choices that affect them. It's these small choices that slowly change who they become. And so, like, by the time you get to the end of a season, there's such a difference between the first episode, but you didn't notice it happening. It just happened slowly over time, which is great. I should mention, though, that Jensen Ackles, the person who plays Dean Winchester, was on the 4th season of Smallville. And I loved his character until he went crazy. When he went crazy, that was bad, but I really thought he was great. He was Jason Teague. Really great character until he went nuts. Let's see, what else? The relationships. Lana Lang, she's an okay character. She's a good character as standalone. I never wanted her to end up with Clark. Never did. Sometimes I wanted him and Chloe to end up together, but she developed better by not being in a relationship with him. She became a strong character because of that. Lana Lang, after she left Clark, became a much stronger character. Basically went away from Clark to become a strong character. Lois Lane was already a strong character, but like very independent, and then seeing her fall in love, it's kind of adorable. It's kind of because like she's such this tough character who doesn't need to be rescued all the time, or doesn't realize when she is rescued and just makes fun of Clark all the time. So it's fun to see her fall in love. Though when Lana and Lex are together, it's an interesting relationship, and that's when you actually really start to dislike Lex. During their time together, that's when you really are like, oh, come on, Lex, I can't feel too much sympathy for you anymore. You're just too manipulative here. Too much so, and it's sad. Like, he convinced her that she was pregnant so that she would marry him.
How is that even possible?
Some kind of drug, fake ultrasounds. Then she found out later that, because she got sick, that it was a drug that would make her seem pregnant, and like, oh, it was bad. It was bad.
I don't know why he thought that was a good idea.
Because he's Lex Luthor. And the Lex Luthor at the beginning of the series wouldn't have done that. I think you can see everything that happens to him. You can see him descend into that terrible, that ultimate villain that we get in the comic books, that you see all the time, that just basically wants to rule / destroy the world. And who just try to convince over and over and over that everybody that Superman is an evil alien. And it's really, you can see how he comes like that, because he's very charismatic and he's sympathetic. I mean, but you can see the madness in his eyes sometimes. But Michael Rosenbaum, great actor, by the way. I think you should see some of the blooper reels with him. He's hilarious. Really great. I wish he was in more TV shows. Honestly, I do. So, like, lots of these characters, I wish they were in more TV shows, like Allison Mack, Michael Rosenbaum, the Kents, just like Martha and Jonathan Kent. Christine Kirk was in Beauty and the Beast. I started watching that. Pretty good. I didn't keep going with that.
There's a Beauty and the Beast TV show?
Yeah, there's a TV series. Justin Hartley, wish he was in more stuff. Yeah, I really liked it. And when they started introducing more of the superhero teams, like the JSA, that was a great episode. It was a 2-part episode. Wonderful. It was like, Absolute Justice. Absolutely one of the best episodes. I just love it so much. Okay. So probably the last thing I'm going to mention, I mean, there's tons of other things I can mention about the series. I really like it. It was really like I think because this was such a success that shows like Arrow and Flash managed to get made. It's due to the influence of how successful this show was. The last thing I want to mention is how they do the name dropping in the show. Like I mentioned before, Lois Lane, but they do so many times when they meet, like when he meets Bart Allen. They decided to use Bart Allen for the Flash, or AC, like Aquaman. The way they introduce the characters, but then they also say, like Bart Allen says, we should make we could get together, make a group or a league or something, and then AC mentions we could make a club, be the Junior Lifeguards Association, and Clark's like, I don't think I'm ready for the JLA yet. And they do that so often. They throw these into like these moments where there's like they know that most people watching the show will have read the comics, or at the very least be familiar with names like Lois Lane, Lex Luthor, Lionel Luthor, JLA, JSA, all those names, Aquaman, Flash, Green Arrow, Oliver Queen. So they do, and then they make it such a nice moment there, and you're like, oh my god, yes! And then final season, they briefly mention people who Chloe Sullivan had met, because she traveled the world and she's good at finding superheroes and believing in them. That was basically her thing. They kind of sort of mentioned Wonder Woman and Batman. They're like she met a wondrous woman who'll throw you through a loop, and a genius billionaire with really cool toys, something like that. And it's just they did the name dropping really well in this series. And there's a comic book called Smallville that takes basically season 8 of Smallville, season 11 of Smallville, basically after the series ends. And it's pretty good. Mostly because it's Chloe Sullivan. Honestly, she was a needed character. Like, and they have other ones, like, and they did cool things, like they killed off Jimmy Olsen, and then they brought him back. Yeah, the photographer. And they brought him back as his younger brother later on. It's interesting the choice that they did. I would love to know why they did some of these things. So, like, we'll watch some of the behind the scenes stuff, which would be great to do. But honestly, even though sometimes the stories got a little weird, repetitive, basically at the end, Clark's character just basically had the same arcs over and over and over again and wasn't getting anywhere. It was a really well done story, and for the most part, I just loved it, and I loved watching it. I watched Smallville and Supernatural, one after the other, each night. And, yeah. So, that's what got me started on superheroes. So, thank you for my rave. This is our first one, remember? So, hope people actually watch this. I wonder if people actually are going to watch this. It would be cool if people actually watch this. And then, if you like the raves, please let us know. I don't know. Subscribe to our channel. I guess we're supposed to say those things.
I think we are.
Yeah,
we're supposed to say those things.
I think you're supposed to subscribe. And let us know if you want us to try to talk about any of the other series. We can't promise if we'll do a rant or a rave on any of those. That'll be up to us if we like them or not. And, yeah, comment. We like comments. Be nice.
We do like comments. Let us know if you think we could do something better, which I'm sure we could do something better, but let us know if you have any specific suggestions.
Yeah. Okay, so we're having fun. This is S41. Signing off.
Bye.
Bye.